Calling Shannon High.
Downey, this is your team. Please get it to Dairy Queen. We miss you, Downey. Please.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Shanon Show. This is episode 7, and I have a few things to get to before I introduce our guest. First of all, we have some new merch. I need you guys to go check that out in the description. It's great stuff. The Shan Wow, Shanimal Planet, Only Shans, all those great shirts. And I'm going to need all you guys to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. You're going to get this episode, last week's episode. Make sure to check that out with Dr. Circe Olsen-Westner. It was a real good one. And I just made this Instagram account for the show. Go follow it at The Shanon Show. You can get updates on who the guest of the week is, just some information regarding the last show and all the trailers. So make sure to do that as well. And with no further ado, I can't wait for this one. We have our guest, Ari Gieseck.
It's good.
How you doing, man? You were a day one guest. I remember after I filmed the first episode with Johnny, I was like talking about people who I need on this show because I wanted this thing to, I wanted to go far. And I was like, these are the people that I need to have on here to reach my target audience and do what I want to do. And you were one of those people. I mean, it's just your energy in a way. I mean, I could walk into a room blindfolded, I think, and I could tell you guys whether or not Ari was in that room. Like, it is
yelling, I'd always be yelling in class. So
yeah, well, yeah, that too. You're a little loud, but that's not what I was trying to get to. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm just trying to make the best out of COVID right now. But honestly, I just be adulting. I don't really have like free time on my hands. Like, that's the only free time I got. But I mean, I don't mind.
Yeah, for this, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. So I'm just going to talk a little bit because not everyone knows who you are. I know a lot of people do know who you are for a lot of different reasons because you do so many different things. I just want to get a little bit of background on you. You're calling and joining us from Okinawa, Japan, live from there. Yes, sir. How long have you lived there?
I'm born and raised here.
I didn't know that. That is crazy.
18 years, yeah.
Yeah, never lived anywhere else. That's a pretty unique childhood.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. For me, it seems normal. When people ask me and I tell them, they're like, dang, that's a long time. And I'm like, I guess.
You're like, just going by. So where are your parents from? How did you get to Okinawa?
So my dad was originally from Tasco, Ohio. He wanted to go to college, then he changed his mind, and he joined the Marine Corps, and then he got stationed here. And then my mom, she was born on another island here on Okinawa called Kumijima, and they just met through mutual friends, and then I was here.
Wow, and then Ari
showed up on their doorstep,
That's how that worked. They just found you.
Got me off,
Yeah, so a little bit back on Ari. I'm going to get back to your energy just a little bit. You were somehow known. I met Ari at Kubasaki High School. We weren't like best friends or anything, but you were kind of considered the face of the class of 2020, in my opinion. I'm not sure whether or not you agree with that, but you were like huge school spirit. A lot of people called you like the Kubi hype man. I mean, you're always the loudest. You had the most energy. I remember we were at a football game once. I was the Sammy, and we were trying to start. This sounds so lame to all the kids in the States. We were trying to start a student section at the football game, and he's like, "Wait, we need Ari." So we spent there were 10 minutes just looking for Ari because we could not have a student section without her because it just would not be the same. Eventually, we did. But when did that happen? How did that come happen to you?
So I remember my freshman year. I don't know, in my personal opinion, I felt like I was a little more mature than most of the freshman class. And, they just, run around, play football. And I was kind of just like, man, let's just chill out. So I was, that kind of kid. So I never really, liked my freshman class. So I would hang out with the sophomore class because I also hung out with those people, too, in middle school. And there was this one dude named Bobby Riggard. You probably know who he is.
Oh, yes.
And he would make that thing hype, man. And he was just crazy. And I was
man,
he inspired me and taught me, life is what it is, but it's, what you make out of it. Like, high school, it's either going to be really good or really bad, but it's going to depend on how you make out of it. And just from that moment on, when I walked in sophomore year, I was like, man, high school sucks, but you got to make the best out of it. It's going to get better unless you make it good. So I guess, big shout out to Bobby, just inspiring me to just enjoy high school as much as I can.
Yeah, you heard that here first, guys. She was the hype man because she didn't like any of you in her class. Apparently, that's great.
Do you not remember? Wait, were you there freshman year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember all those people like posted all the Mike Wazowski memes everywhere?
Yes.
And
Yeah, those were the kids. Yes, I know.
that's why I didn't like
I
our
wasn't the coolest guy either at the time. I don't know. I didn't really know you either. Uh,
I would sit in class, man. I just look down my table and I see Mike Wazowski silly me. I'm like, oh my god. I was like, bro, I hate it here.
yeah, so many. There was a poster on the, I don't remember the building numbers, like 600s building. It was like formuloli, give me ravioli.
Yeah.
It was there for like 2 years. Like no one ever took it down. It was just this terrible drawing, and it didn't make any sense. And I don't know, like no, just like no one cared. I think things changed a little bit whenever Dr. Mallon showed up, and like he started like making some changes, but
He started
no.
making his own posters.
I know he started making his own posters. He's hanging up. He had like, remember he just like have posters randomly on the sidewalk.
No, yeah, it's just in the middle of the floor, and he's like, "Don't step on it," and everyone's like, walk all over it. It's
Yeah, exactly. And they'd just be in the middle of nowhere, like in the back corner of the school, random poster on the floor. I don't even know, how do you make a poster on the floor? It wasn't even painted. I don't know.
like a sticker.
Yeah, and he painted all the pillars. That looks kind of nice. I'm not gonna complain about that. Didn't Kubi just get a glow up too? I mean, I saw some video, like they added a bunch of stuff.
So last time I went there, so they did this for this year's class. Inside the walls, it's gonna be all white, and then they have like a green strip, and then it's on
Whoa.
the, I know, right, fancy. And then on the science wall, they have like a science design, but I don't know if that's the same for all the different departments for the subjects. But that's as much as I've seen. But there's a lot of teachers that have been transferring in and out, and a lot of like rearrangements, stuff like that. So it's definitely changed. Like, yeah, it's different. I'm glad I graduated 2020. Like that's
Yeah.
change. I'm like, bro, that's too much change for me. Like change is good, but that's too much for me.
Yeah, people who don't really understand Kubasaki, it's an older school to say the least. It's a very rundown building. It might be hard for some people to imagine, I guess. It's yeah, they promised the new school that was supposed to be for our graduating class, our graduating year, supposed to be for 2020, then that got pushed back 10 years. So that didn't happen. It's
That's the
rough.
military for you. They're gonna make these promises and never gonna give it to you until they feel like
Exactly. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna tear down Zukrin, and then Zukrin's like still standing like a month before the school's supposed to be up. Like, okay, that's great. The old one. I'm not sure. Is it still there? Did they take down the old one yet?
no, it's still
No,
there.
of course.
I know what is it? The elementary school has a better school than we do. It's bigger
Yeah,
too.
facts. Yeah, for
Got
sure.
like like the sensor detective thing for like going in and out of the buildings. They got like pods. They have automatic what is it, sinks. I don't even think we have automatic sinks, right?
I don't even think we have knobs in our sinks. I feel like you just
Yeah.
kind of have to like hit it, and then some water will drip out, and all the cockroach stuff. I don't even want to talk about that. It's so gross in those bathrooms. So bad. I know they fixed them a little bit. Like all the writing on the stalls too. Some of those
Oh,
things
yeah.
are kind of funny though. Yeah. Gosh. So I'm a little bit more about you. You do a lot of everything
hmm
from how I see it. I'm not sure. I think it's your Finsta you mostly post on and on your Snapchat story. You're a great follow, by the way, like because you're just doing so much different shit all the time. I'm like, can't even keep up. Just one of them. Let's talk about rugby. I want to talk about rugby because like it was like one day I just opened up the story and like Ari's playing rugby and she's like, she's going really hard and like this is insane.
Oh, so it was kind of weird. So like I played football like my freshman year, but I played OIF and my dad wouldn't let me play high school and I'm like, "Bro, come on. Like I bench more than half of JV team." I was like, "Just let me play." The standard is not like stateside that you're thinking. Like these guys are not going to crush me because I don't know. I guess
You're the
Dodea
same size as well.
well, yeah, like just Dodea as a whole mentally, they're just not as intense. So I feel like when it comes to Dodea as sports, it's just if you're mentally there, you can do anything. So I always wanted to play football and I loved playing football. And then after my first year, like that was the last time I played. So just like the tackling and just the hit, like I just loved it. So then I think it was the Rugby World Cup and Japan made it to the semifinals, right? And that's where it started to get really big. Like if Japan makes semifinals, like it's going to be the new trend in Japan.
Yeah.
So as soon as that happened, there started to be like TV and stuff, and there started to be like TV shows, and I was like watching. I was like, man, this is just like football. Like this is something I want to do, and it's also females. I was like, bro, I was like, let me play. And then my mom was just like, hey, yeah, here's a team right here. Go on first day, go for it. And it was actually kind of funny because the coach was like, yeah, come to practice. You know, you can watch. And I showed up in these like this hoodie and these jeans and like my Nike shoes. I show up, and he was like, do you think you can throw a ball? And I was like, yes, and we're throwing the ball. Next thing I knew, I was practicing for an hour and a half.
Practicing full time in your jeans?
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not ready. I was like, I don't got no cleats on or nothing.
That's sick.
But yeah,
so how did you find the team?
Just Instagram. I think my mom was just looking up Instagram. I don't know. She was kind of more interested in rugby before I was. Really, she was already like, oh, I got a team already right here, and I was like, all right, cool. So you knew I was going to ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's literally it. It wasn't really much of a build up. It was just like,
yeah,
let's
that's
go.
what it seemed like. I was like, dude, that's great for her, man. I couldn't play any rugby. That's great. I love how Japan, like, how they look up to their athletes, I guess, in that way. Like whenever one of their national teams goes far, or like any of the guys who make it to the American pro leagues, I mean, it's a big deal to them. And they have like all this.
In Okinawa, like there's one
Yeah.
player from Okinawa, and that's like a big deal, you know. That's like one Hawaiian player makes it to like a NFL football team. Like that's a big
Yeah.
deal because small island, you know, we don't have like as much money as mainland people. So the fact that someone goes really far and you know they're built the way we are, because we are built differently from mainlanders. Mainlanders are tall and strong naturally, have a
Yeah.
good build, whereas Okinawans like just small. So the fact that someone went up there and tore it up, like that's a big deal for us. So yeah, it just spread like wildfire around here, and everyone plays rugby now. Like everywhere you go, like you see kids play rugby. Just
How long
because
have you
of
been
that.
doing it now? Sorry.
I think I started like February, so like only a few months, like 4 months. I mean, COVID really cut off like a whole month off, so we haven't really been able to play.
Yeah. What kind of bond do you have with your teammates then? I mean, how close are you with them? And I don't even know.
It's pretty close, just on the fact that you know, like at like you're there to play and get better, but you're also there to have fun and have a good time. So it's a good balance. I think what's different from high school and from my team is just the fact that they're more mature, you know, and that they understand that not everything is given to you. You have to work hard. Like if I give them criticism, it's not out of hate, it's out of love. And if they give me criticism, I know it's out of love, and they just want me to get better. So I think that dynamic is just so good, you know. Like in any adult team that I've played, when it came to softball or playing the basketball at the gym, like it was just everyone knew that you're not going to get better unless you get that criticism, and I don't think that's shared in high school as much. So it's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, you just mentioned basketball too. Do you want to get into that now? You played how many years did you play Dragon basketball?
4 years, man.
4 years, 4-year athlete. That's
4
Ari right there.
Get my butt whooped, man. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You guys were. I'm not gonna say anything about those teams.
It was special. We could be in the special, man. It was so bad.
Yeah, they weren't exactly stacked to line up, so we can put it that way. When did you start playing? Was it your freshman year? You just went out for it? Like, how do you have the motivation to try all these new things? I couldn't even imagine you playing all these different sports.
So like before high school, all I did was karate, and it was the only thing I did for years and years. And I eventually just kind of got bored, just because everyone started leaving, started playing their Japanese high school and middle
Yeah.
school sports, started splitting off, and I was kind of like the only one. So I was like, man, I need something new. And my fifth grade teacher would talk to me about his high school experience. Oh, I played soccer, I did this, and that like motivated, like I want to do all those cool things too. So basketball, I want to say like I went to like this teens, like the youth center, and one of the old basketball players that went to Kubasaki kind of showed me. She was like, hey,
Yeah.
play some basketball. And then I kind of liked it. I was like, okay, it's not too bad, you know, maybe it's something on the checklist. And then basketball is coming up, and I was like, might as well try it out. And, you know, what are they going to tell me? I can't make it? Like, that's as much as it's going to
Yeah.
happen. I made it. I was like, all right, cool. And it just went on from there.
Yeah, the Kubi sports teams, like I know you definitely got better at basketball over the years, but once you try out, you're basically on the team. Like it's
I
just
think-
such a
I
small
think-
school.
squad where it's like you need to still compete. Because
Yeah.
sometimes people off, it don't matter.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the martial arts. Is that what the kate?
Yeah.
How big has that been for you? Because I remember you posted something about it, about, forgive me, I don't even remember. Was it you got a black belt?
Yeah, back in November, I think like 2 years
Yeah.
ago. So yeah,
So
it's
how
been a
long did
big.
that take you? Yeah.
It was like a big thing for me, just so I had like my siblings, my half siblings, they were doing karate, and my dad was kind of pushing them to do it, and he was like, "Here, I want you to do it. It teaches you so much about
Mm,
life and
mm,
discipline." And he was trying to teach them, but they never really liked it, stick with it. But I was like 3 years old, 4 years old, and I was like, I want to do it. Like I was never pushed by him. I was just like, I want to do it. I want to do it. And he's like, No, you're too young. And I was like, I want to do it. I was like, put me in. I remember I would go to these classes and I would watch my older siblings just like not put their all in it, and I'm like, bro, put me in, like,
uh,
coach, put
uh,
me in. So just like from the get-go, I was just like, I want to do it. So then eventually they took me to a style like right down the street, Kyokushin, which is like full contact sport kind of karate. And then my dad opened his own dojo because he did karate for like 30 some years as well. And he opened his own dojo HD, which is like more of a style, more like cultural
mm,
style. So I went to them like Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I go to my dad's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it was just
ye-
back to back to back because I liked it so much. And then eventually, like I had to pick between the styles because it started to mess with my own style. Like it started to carry over, which is kind of bad. So I just broke off with Kyokushin, and I stuck with my dad, and we just been teaching class from there on out. Just that's it.
Has it taught a lot about you, about like discipline in your life? Like, do you think it's changed who you are today?
No, yeah, for sure. I guess like as I got older, I realized how much it has changed and how much it affected my life, especially with sports, because it's an independent sport. So when I would go to tournaments, I
Yeah.
would focus on myself and I would just grind and I would push hard and everything like that. And then once I went to dog school and you're putting people where they're not working as hard, then I realized like, wow, like why like I thought this was normal. Like I thought hard work was normal. So definitely that and just like discipline when it came to like I'm not gonna get what I want if I don't put in the work. So like school wise, I needed to do my work even if I didn't want to, and it was like 10 o'clock and I was procrastinating. I was like, bro, I
Yeah.
need to. So that definitely taught me a lot from karate. Yeah.
That's good to hear. One more sport I want to get to, because I know you played your freshman year. You played for Coach Davis.
Oh,
Kubi softball.
softball.
No, I need to hear about this. I never heard about it. What? Because I remember I went to a softball game and you were just balling out at second base. Like you were making every play, and then you didn't play the next year. I was so confused at the time. I never got to talk to you about it. What was playing your freshman year like for Coach Davis? Because I know a lot of people might not know Coach Davis. I know she was because she left after our freshman year, and she was my
Mhm.
tennis coach too. So I got to know her a lot too. I mean, I used to see you in her room all the time, and I was there too.
Yeah,
But yeah, I know,
that was the
just
part
hanging
where
out
you
with her
come
and
in
then
and do tennis. I
yeah.
remember that.
I would change how many days we had left until Far East. That was a big deal. It was a big deal. Yeah, so talk about freshman year softball, please. I insist.
So because of basketball, there was two players, Raven and Sierra, and they played softball, and they were pushing me like,
Yes.
"Come on, do softball, do softball." And I was like, "No,"
You're like
because at
another
the time,
sport.
I know I was like, "Man," and at the time too, my girlfriend at the time, she used to play Kubi softball, and then she moved, so then she was kind of pushing me. She was like, "Come on, try. Wear my number, represent me." And I don't know, like I don't want to diss on your number. Like I never played before, and then they were like, "No, it's okay, just come out." And Coach Davis was like, "Hey, look, just try out one day, just come out one day, and I'll tell you if you're good or not." And I was like, "Okay, well, just don't waste my 3 days. I don't want to be there for 3 days and I tell them it sucks." So she's like, "I'll tell you on the first day," and I was like, "Okay." So I came out, and I tried out, and then after I felt like okay. I was like, okay, that wasn't too bad, I guess. And I asked Coach Davis, I was like, "Hey, Coach Davis, was I good or not?" And she was like, "I don't know." And I was like, she was like, I guess you're gonna have to keep coming to find out. And I was like, this dude.
That's totally something she would do. That's 100%. That sounds just like her. That is great.
So then I was just like super nervous, and I was like, man, like I'm not gonna make it. And then eventually I think I made it to JV, right? I think, yeah, I made it to JV, and then eventually I got pulled up because due to someone got kicked off. There was injuries, so I was kind of like, it wasn't like I earned my spot there, but it was just like, hey, there's an opening.
There.
Yeah, I was there, So they would take me to ASIJ, and like it was so different because JV, like the pitches weren't clean, but we're in varsity, it was just such a different level. Like there was actually pitches coming to you, so it was so different to like actually hit off of people, and it was crazy because this one pitcher from ASIJ, everyone was struggling to hit off of her, but she just kept putting it right in the middle, and for me, I was like, all I know is to hit from the middle, so I was like, this is solid. I was like, this is great. So like I did pretty good for like a freshman. There's lots of learning curves, obviously. Against Dakota too, it was good games. Like that was a different pitch. It was a difficult pitch for me, but from that point on, I just started going to practice and just like working hard, and then played Far East, and then that was my freshman experience. Just
were you enjoying it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it for sure. I really did like it. Just the fact that it was, it was different. The people were nice. The coaching, it was good coaching balance. Because, Coach Davis, she was strict, but she wasn't like, in there. But we had Kia, who was really, he was like a drill instructor for us. So I just love that kind of balance between coaches where it's like, I'm going to be really hard on you, but I'm also going to like, motivate you and tell you what you're doing good on. So I like that chemistry between those coaches. I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, she was a really good coach in that aspect. I completely agree with you. So then the next year, I just want to know, you said you were really enjoying it. You went back out there. Did Thibert cut you from that team?
Yeah, so
that is unbelievable. Thibert, Thibert's a friend of the show. Actually, I don't know that. I hope he is. But what happened?
So what had happened was the season before I broke my ankle, and I didn't really know until 2 weeks after. 2 weeks after they told me. So I broke my ankle, went to the hospital, and they're like, oh, it's a really bad sprain. And I'm learning anatomy at the time, and we're learning bone fractures. And I see my x-ray, and I'm like, that is a fracture right there. Like, I can see that. I see a little crack. And I'm like, you know what? But this dude is getting paid to tell me what to do with my body. So I'm just going to let him tell me. I swear I see that crack right there. So then eventually, I think I like woke up one day, and it was just boom, purple. And I was like, oh my God. So we went to a different doctor, and he's like, yeah. He was like, it's definitely fractured, but since you were wrapping it every day, you essentially made yourself your own cast. So I was making my own cast every day because I was wrapping it every day. So he was like, it's already healing, but it's already too late for me to put you in a nice cast. He was like, you just have to keep wrapping it.
What?
He's like, but there's, and I was like I got so screwed over. So I had that little fracture there, and then everyone was like, come on, come softball. And then I was like, yeah, I gotta do softball, like I gotta do it. So I went out there, and like I wasn't feeling 100%. Because once I broke my ankle in basketball, I stopped working out for like a month, which isn't a lot for some people, but for me, it's such a difference for working out every day. So when I showed up, I just like wasn't 100%. I didn't touch the glove as much, and then I was kind of like, I don't know. I guess.
So you weren't healthy.
Yeah, I wasn't healthy, and also like I didn't take it as serious as they wanted me to, which is understandable. Like you're underclassmen, you think you made varsity, like that was what it was, and that I guess I bet myself in my own butt for that one. But I mean, yeah, he put me to JV. And I was like, screw it. Replay freshman year. I'm gonna work my way up, And I was working my way up, I was still showing up. I was still dressing out for varsity games. So obviously, I was still there as a potential, as like like a sub or something like that. But I think one game, these JV Kadena girls, man, they were stepping on my ankle because I was at third, and they would just step on my ankle, and it just kept getting worse and worse to the point where I couldn't run, and I was like, man, I gotta drop out. I was like, this isn't healthy. I was like, I don't see softball as a long term. I'm more committed to basketball, so
Yeah.
I made a decision to just drop out because my ankle was so bad, and yeah, I just dropped out.
No,
And
that makes
then
sense. Yeah.
it just wasn't worth it, you know. And then like it was such a I didn't like the coaching, like I just didn't like Thibert. That coaching dynamic was different. I
Very
didn't like the
different.
way and and I was just like, man, that's stupid because it was mostly seniors in that squad, so they were like, oh, I don't care, you know, senior year, it's whatever, deal with this, win a Far East and deal with it. And that was their mentality, which is understandable. But for me as a sophomore, like I would be stuck here for 3 years, and I was like, no, I can't. I was like, I can't do that. I was like, I can't deal with this, bro.
Yeah.
Especially something that I don't have a burning passion for. I was like, wow, I'm just something I did,
Yeah.
you know. Check. This is a bucket list for me.
No, and it's good that you have so many things that you can like, even if it's a short term, have a passion for. Yeah, that's great. So we're gonna talk about volleyball. Don't worry about that. It's kind of part of the questions that we have. I made a question. It's not a poll. I don't even care. It's ask people to ask me questions for Ari on the show on my Instagram account, and we got a pretty solid turnout. I'm just gonna go through these one at a time. I guess I can say who asked them. I guess there's no reason to keep it confidential or anything. So I'm just gonna fire them away at you. How's that sound?
Oh yeah, go for
All right,
it.
let's go. So Alex Saber wants to know how's life.
Is
Yeah,
life?
I know it's a tough one. I know. I haven't.
I never know how to answer that question. You know,
Yeah, I
I'd
know.
get like someone asked me that, I'd be like, "It's life," you know. Like
Yeah.
I just
He was
never have an
the
answer.
first one. I was like, it's great. It's great. Appreciate it. It's going well, Alex. I hope your life is going well as well. Adele, do you remember Adele? She played tennis our freshman year. You might not, but
I have to see if
she
it was
asks, would Transformers buy life insurance or car insurance? I know. I don't even.
probably life insurance or car insurance.
They're cars. Like, it has to be car insurance. Like, isn't it?
Technically speaking, their life insurance is car insurance. So
What do you
both.
mean? No. Listen, life insurance is for humans. You might as well call it human insurance, but that'd be kind of weird if you're like, yeah, I gotta go get my human insurance. Like, that's.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're a car, which is their life. They're human. They're a car. So
But
it's the same thing. She basically
not the same
says,
thing. Not the same. Would Lightning McQueen get life insurance?
hell yeah, ka-chow.
No, he wouldn't. That's terrible. One of your, I'm not sure who this is. I can't tell from the username. One of your favorite memories of being a military kid. Not sure if there's anything in particular. I know that's a tough one. It's very broad. Put you on the spot. I guess I should have told you these
Especially
beforehand.
because I never really traveled, you know? Like, I'm not necessarily a military child. I was civilian, but I was surrounded by it. I guess my favorite part is just meeting new people, you know? Always meeting people. Everywhere for when it came to sports, when it came to just people coming here and seeing us. Like, it was nice to just meet a whole bunch of new people and hear where they're from, hear their accents and, like, their lifestyle. It was just new to me, you know? Like, even at my job now, like, there's people from Alaska who has, like, a solid accent, and I was just like, man, that's cool. Like, it's just stuff like that I find fascinating.
Yeah, what's it like? So you're living in the same place and you're around all these military kids who are constantly coming in and out. You're just like, hey, see ya. And then you might see them again like 3 years later. So I can't even imagine.
It's hard, you know? Especially as a little kid, you got to go through that. So
Yeah.
at first, as a little kid, I was kind of like, oh my God, I'm so sad. I'm never going to see you again. But then as you get older, you start realizing, like, okay, these people who I genuinely care about, I know they'll care about me if we stay in touch. If we don't stay in touch, then that's their problem. Like, as you get older, you start realizing that. So that was kind of how I mentally got along with it, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people make a big deal about it. I mean, especially people who aren't necessarily military kids. They're always talking about like moving around so much. But I mean, that's what it is. Like the people who you care about and they care about you, you'll keep in touch. And you can't help it if someone doesn't want to keep in touch. It's like you can't do anything about that.
Exactly.
So a friend of mine from Virginia, Riley, asks, "Is your refrigerator running?" That's bad.
No, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah, it's not a good joke. I didn't like that one. But
You,
yes, my
Max.
favorite.
I have to catch both of them, right?
Yeah. Okay, so Abigail, she asked a lot of questions that I already asked. So, wait, one of them. Wait, I didn't ask you this one. How did you like being the manager of the Kubasaki volleyball team?
Uh, it was a weird. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it was just one of those times where I was just like, "Hey, I'll do it," and I just jumped in it, and
Were they
like
begging you to do it?
well, no, it was like so my freshman year I wanted to do it, but I was too
Yeah.
terrified, and I was also busy with football, and like Hogan was intimidating, man. That was his prime. That was prime angry Hogan, so I really didn't want to touch that. Shout out to Hogan, love you, Hogan. But
Uh,
sophomore year, Abby and Lindy, they're like, come on, like it would be so cool. You get to watch us play volleyball all the time. And I was like, I mean, I got nothing else to do. I don't have anything else for a fall sport. So I was like, sure. And it was nice just because like I felt like I was involved in the team. Like I was involved in the team without having to sweat, which was really nice. I
yeah,
didn't have to
I bet.
be involved in the team. But I also learned so much about volleyball, just like the sport itself, the rules, also being able to travel, like that was really nice. And I loved it. I would do it all over again, honestly.
I My only memory of Coach Hogan is I had him as my PE teacher, and we were stretching in the circles doing our warm-ups, and he never talked to me. He came up to me and he said, "Are you the kid that plays tennis?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Okay." And that was it. Like there was nothing else. Like he just didn't talk to me again after that. I'm like, "Okay, it sounds good. Appreciate it." And then you guys were so close to me. It was so weird for me because like I see him in PE and he's like straight face, like all business, and then I see the Snapchat stories and he's like dancing around with the girls, like hanging out with you guys. I'm like, who is this man?
I know he was just so different. Like when it came to volleyball, if it was on court, he's serious. He's serious. He's going to do the best he can. He don't care if you like him or not, stuff like that. But when it came off court and we're talking about like mentality wise, emotionally, like he was like a dad to all of us. He made sure that we were okay. He would joke around with us when we're traveling. We would all play the game together, and like that was like involving volleyball. Like it was just that was Hogan. So I liked him for sure. I really do miss him, and I see him as an inspiration for sure too.
Did they win 2 Far East championships or 1? I can't remember.
One. We got
One.
second place last
In the
year,
second place.
and then first place, and then third the year before, and then they had a three-peat my freshman year.
Yeah, I just remember like tennis, I'm getting my butt kicked, baseball getting our butts kicked, and I see the volleyball girls and they're like in the championship winning Far East and stuff. I'm like, how are they so good? Why are they? I mean,
Work ethic, unbelievable, dude. It is incredible. It's not as intense. Like I'm gonna say right now, it's not as intense as it used to be. But when during the three-peat, it was just purely volleyball. Like they didn't play any other sport. They dropped everything and they would work day in and day out, season, not season, beach, indoor. Like it was just consistently workout all the time.
yeah.
And that's why they were so good.
What was Coach Grubbs like for you guys? Because he was also our baseball coach,
hmm
and I know he coached the volleyball team. So what was he like? I don't even know. Compared to Hogan, I guess.
So like I said, kind of that coaching chemistry. So Hogan was definitely the one that was a stickler and kind of,
Yeah.
put up your butt,
Yeah.
just straight. And Grubbs was definitely more of like he's gonna teach you some things too, but he's gonna come in from a calm approach. Like that was kind of Grubbs as it is, and sometimes that dynamic will shift. Sometimes Grubbs will become that strict coach,
Oh my
and
goodness.
Hogan.
When Grubbs starts yelling at you, that's when you know you messed up. That's
Exactly. That's what happened at Far East when we were down by 3 sets, and like that was the first time I've ever seen Grubbs lose his like composure. But it was understandable. It wasn't necessarily the girls or his fault, nobody's fault. It was really the refs. But that was the first time I ever seen Grubbs get mad. But yeah, he was a good coach as well. He was definitely someone who helped the volleyball team when it came to the dynamic of coaches.
Yeah, for sure. Abigail also wants to know. She said, ask her about how she was Hogan's bitch. Can you explain that? I'm a little confused because you were just the manager. Like I didn't know that was part of the
I
description.
wasn't, I wasn't his bitch, but I would do a lot of things for Hogan just to keep this dude happy because
Sure, sure.
I think personally I was his little vent jar because every time they messed up on the court, he would turn around, look at me, and he'd be like, cussing his head off, and he's saying all this. He'd turn around, he's completely fine, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm glad you told me. Or he'd be like, why are they doing this? And I'm like I've never played volleyball in my life, and I was like, but yeah, anything when it came to Hogan, he needed something, paperwork done, he needed coffee, stuff like that. Like I got it for him just because I knew that dude was busy. I knew that dude was, especially in his personal life, like he was kind of on and off too, just like everyone else in the world. He was having a rough time in his life, and he was trying to get a volleyball team to win a championship. So I was like, the most I can do as a manager is to keep him happy as well. So I was like, bro, I got you. I'll get your coffee. And plus, he let me skip class, so I was like, it's
Yeah. Okay.
even.
She also said, ask her about her green card.
A green card. I don't know what a green card is.
Green
What?
car.
Oh, card.
No, not your green card.
I was like, I'm here legally.
Yeah.
My green car. Yeah, I definitely hate it. I really want to buy a new one, but I'm also a really cheap person. So I have like this huge dent in the back of my car, but I'm too cheap to fix it, and it only costs like $100. It only costs like a few like $100, and I have like that's how cheap I am. I'm just like, yeah, I don't. It's fine.
Nah, it's not worth
That's
it.
the kind of person I am. It's just not worth it,
I'm gonna need a
Yeah.
picture of that so I can show everyone the dent, please. Abigail, no, I'm sorry, it's not personal. Abigail, she also wants to know of the car, not your bank account, by the way. She said, your favorite memory from high school.
Favorite memory from high school?
It's another tough one on the spot.
I know.
She doesn't want to see you succeed on this. She wants to see you fail.
Especially when your like memory is so like cloudy of high school. I guess like my favorite memory was just the whole all my sports seasons for junior year. My basketball year and volleyball year was really fun because volleyball, like we won the championship, yeah, but it like just looking at all the 3 years that I've managed volleyball and looking at the team of the freshman year that I didn't manage, like that dynamic was also the same. Like you can just tell when a team is going to win a championship just by looking at the chemistry, practices, the dynamic. So like that, it was cool to see it because that's also like my job too. Like just watch. Like I just watch them play. So I think that was like the best moment, just seeing that like develop. And then my junior basketball, like it was the hardest year, but that was like where we had the most hope. Like I think honestly, like due to some circumstances, like we could have went competing for third and fourth, which is probably like the highest like freaking we would compete in a long time, but due to some circumstances we couldn't make it. But that team, like definitely like that was a lot of progress made with that team as well, because it was kind of a rebuilding team, just like that volleyball one. They were both rebuilding teams sophomore year and junior year. You can see all the hard work pay off. So I think that's why I like my junior year the most, is because all that hard work just paid off and it was worth it. Even if it wasn't a championship, it was just really nice to see it.
Yeah, for sure. Next one from a friend of mine in Virginia. I'm not sure if you have any reason for this. She wants to know why there's a gorilla emoji next to your name on Instagram.
Oh, bro, it's because you gotta get swole, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Stuff, big nigga, what? That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
what it's about. Yeah.
I got the gorilla, because you gotta stay swole. Mentality.
Last one is from Brenna. She wants to know why your twins are so gargantuan.
Oh my gosh.
Can you explain?
Do you know what she's talking about? Like when you hear that question, do you know what she thinks she's talking about? Do you know?
I think I do, but I really don't want to say that on the air. I mean, you can let everyone know. I'll cut it out.
She always, every time I say every time I say hi, Brenda, she's not making eye contact with me. She's making eye contact with something else, and she's like,
Okay.
hi, and I'm like
Why are they so gargantuan?
Why are they so great? I don't know.
Why?
Parents,
I hate
that's
that
my
word,
parents.
gargantuan. That's a terrible word. I don't.
No, that's that's out of my control. I have no clue why. I go to school one day wearing this different shirt, and she's like, "Whoa, I never realized." And I was like, "Oh my god, bro!" I was like, "Really?" In front of everybody, bro. It's so embarrassing.
Oh, that's the rest of the Instagram questions. Thank you guys for all doing those. Abigail had a lot of ones that I already asked, so she sent a lot. Appreciate all of you for doing that. We'll be doing that for the next episode as well, so make sure to chime in there. Anything else you want to talk about? I mean, this was absolutely awesome talking to you about all these things.
Bro, how's college? I'm curious on yours.
I was college for me. Yeah, oh my gosh, my flag fell while we were recording. I didn't even realize. That's mad embarrassing. That's you see my terrible little empty board with the single pennant. Okay, yeah, it's going well. It's going well so far. Doing it up at Penn State, having a great time. COVID, it's a little different. It's a little different with COVID, obviously. But there's no Big Ten football right now. I believe that's coming back though, so that might change. I know you're an Ohio State fan. Is that right? Yeah, that's terrible. We're gonna pretend. Yes, I saw that. I was hoping that's not what it was. I was hoping my eyes were deceiving me. But yeah, we're gonna pretend like we don't have issues with that or anything. But yeah, going well.
Yep.
Doing a podcast now.
Keep it professional.
Who would have thought? Yeah, this was very professional, very professional. Until the Gargantuan twins.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I can't stand better, but I really can't.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this episode of The Shanon Show, episode number 7. This was an absolute pleasure, as always, talking to my friend Ari. Wanted you on here from the very beginning. I say that like this podcast has been around for years. This is week 7. For the past 7 weeks, I've wanted you on the show, and we finally got it done. And it's going to have to happen again sometime. Maybe we can get some of these other volleyball girls on the show and hear some of your terrible stories. I want to hear more about Hogan.
I'll tell you right now, Abigail really wants to be on this show, so you can go ahead and hit her up.
Okay, we'll look into it. I'll have to think about it. All right, till next time, guys. Make sure to subscribe. Shanon Show's out.